Good evening. It's the October 12th meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals. First up,
Appeal 2023-046, Kevin Barrett, 1 Oakwood Drive, Manorville, subject tax map number 600-146-1-22.6, Natural Resource Protection Zoning. Proposed 1,925 square foot addition to residence. Applicant requests variances that are relieved in chapter 301-179, where proposed front yard setback is 25 feet, minimum required is 100. Chapter 301-179, where proposed side yard setback is 15.5 feet, minimum required is 50. Chapter 301-196, approval needed from Central Crime Bureau to recommend policy commission. This was adjourned to September 28th, 2023.
all right, Mr. Stromsky, just state your name and your address. You've been sworn in before.
Robert Stromsky. I reside at 44 Circle Drive, and I'm acting as the architect for the applicant and property owner. Obviously, we've explained the project in detail at the last meeting. During the last meeting, there was the conversation about the easement and the access and the right-of-way of what is now known as Oakwood Drive. I believe that all the parties that were concerned about that had a meeting with the town attorney and Anne Marie Prudenti, and basically, from my understanding from the meeting, that there was a resolution brought about that all parties were in agreement. I believe the town attorney is also satisfied with what the actual boundaries of the property, and I believe that there was to be some concession to allow access to that property that is to the east. Beyond that, I don't believe that there were any other concerns. Since that meeting, I wasn't at the meeting. I just got some information from my client, who basically said that this meeting did take place, and from their understanding, it appeared that all parties were in agreement. Obviously, Ms. Prudenti could explain it a little bit further on her end in the legal thing. I believe there's going to be some sort of a written declaration that's made as part of this resolution, so.
Correct.
All right, counsel, you have the floor.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I had the pleasure of meeting with Kevin and his wife Jenny. Her parents also participated. Charles Cuddy, representing 4 Oakwood Drive, and Mike Zaleski, Highway Superintendent. So after much back and forth, everyone agreed we would put a resolution before the town board to amend a resolution which was adopted by the town board in 2004, taking the roadway under Highway 189. And we're going to amend that resolution to dial back the roadway and describe it as ending at a particular point that we agreed on a map. In addition, thereafter, there would be 2 easements. One, a permanent easement in favor of the property owner at 4 Oakwood Drive, permitting him to access his driveway, also prohibiting him from expanding it and prohibiting him from parking along that permanent easement. In addition, both parties, 1 Oakwood Drive and 4 Oakwood Drive, would give an easement in favor of the town of Riverhead to deposit snow loads on opposite sides of the properties, because the terminus will no longer be at the woods. So when the highway department would plow, that's where the snow load would go. So now, as a consequence of what we've agreed on, there has to be a location on both sides, on Kevin and Jenny's side and the owner of 4 Oakwood.
As far as I know, that's the detailed understanding.
Okay.
I got the short version.
Anyone else to be heard on this matter? Let's have a reading.
Fine, Mr. Chairman, respectfully, with respect to appeal.
Oh, oh.
I'm sorry.
What's that?
Somebody say something?
No?
Mr. Cuddy
Okay.
wants to speak.
Oh, Mr. Cuddy.
Good evening. I represent the owner at 4 Oakwood Drive, and I just want to thank the zoning board's attorney for the effort that she put in, because she spent a lot of time and she crafted a resolution that's very meaningful to all the parties. So thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Mr. Cuddy, as always.
And I've represented to all parties that I will be the one drafting both easements.
Terrific.
Hi, with respect to appeal number 2023-046, I move that the appeal of Kevin Barrett, 1 Oak Drive, Manorville, SCTM number 600-146-1-22.6, Natural Resource Protection NRP zoning, for variances and/or relief from Chapter 301-179, where proposed front yard setback is 25 feet. Minimum required is 100 feet. Chapter 301-179, where proposed side yard setback is 16.5 feet, and minimum required is 50 feet. And Chapter 301-196 be granted subject to the following: approvals needed from Central Pine Barrens Joint Planning and Policy Commission, Town Board Resolution to amend Resolution Number 1125, adopted on December 7, 2004, to describe terminus of Oak Drive, permanent easement by and between owners of 1 Oak Drive and 4 Oak Drive, providing access to 4 Oak Drive, limited to existing driveway curb cut, provisions relating to no parking, provisions related to waiver of liability, pardon me, and all such terms and conditions to run with the land, permanent easement by and
Hold on a
between.
second.
Can you hear? Oakwood. Oakwood. Yeah, Oakwood.
Okay, sorry, it's got Oak Drive, Oakwood. All right, permanent easement by between owner of 1 Oak Drive, Oakwood, and 4 Oakwood, in favor of town of Riverhead for use of a portion of property for depositing the snow, and in accordance with the applications and sketches with amendments thereto, if any, as filed with the building inspector.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Gazillo.
Aye.
Mr. Whitmire.
Aye.
And I vote aye. So the appeal has been
Amy, you
approved.
want this?
Best of luck with everything.
Good luck.
And the cat in the back, time for you to go to bed there, little girl. Bye.
Put the cat in the hat.
Okay. Next up.
Appeal 2023-043, Christopher Ennis, 94 Maidstone Lane, Reading River, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 600-115-1-10.10, RB80 zoning, proposed detached two-story garage with storage above. Applicant requests variances and a relief from Chapter 301-29A, 1B, where proposed side yard accessory setback 8 feet, minimum required 25 feet, and Chapter 301-31, where proposed impervious surface percentage 26%, maximum required is 15%.
Again, Mrs. Stromsky, if you'd be kindly say your name and your address.
Robert Stromsky, I reside at 44 Circle Drive in Jamesport, again, acting as the architect for the owner and applicant. Since our last meeting, with the discussion to the size of the garage, I just felt that it would be prudent that I would also explain how this project kind of started with the client. Originally, when we were looking to design the garage was actually much bigger. The intention was that Mr. Ennis was worried about his father's health since the passing of his mother, and thought that he might want to make the garage big enough so that he could possibly have an apartment down the road, as the code would allow 3 years later, upstairs. After we started to go through some designs, and after looking at the design, he decided to let go of that idea, and if he was going to do something for his father, he would actually do it in the garage that's underneath his house. So, in essence, Mr. Ennis has looked at other schemes and came forth with the design that's before you of 25 by 30. Since we had those discussions, I explained to Mr. Ennis that it might be a good idea if we were to go around the neighborhood and look at similar properties that may have a detached garage of this size or larger, along with properties that still have and utilize an existing attached garage. I had prepared a memo I had emailed it to Tracy. She said she was going to forward it to you. I also dropped off some hard copies. And basically, we found 4 properties within the local community of Mr. Ennis's property where there were situations where there were detached garages of at least the size that we're proposing, if not larger, and where the property still had an attached garage that was in use. So we felt that this is something that's not really uncommon in the area to ask for. We also, Mr. Ennis went to surrounding property neighbors to his property, to 94 Maidstone, 104 Maidstone, and 84 Maidstone, and got letters of stating no objection and that they didn't have any objection to the size and/or the location of the property. So if I'd like to hand those in to Tracy.
Okay.
And let the record reflect, the zoning board did receive your written write-up dated October 11th with all the attachments, exhibits, and photographs of the home, and those were circulated and reviewed prior to the meeting.
Okay.
And then, since the last meeting, I don't know if the board had any chance to review the property, being that we did state that where this garage is next to a recharge basin that basically is kind of almost surrounding Mr. Ennis's property. So we felt that the detached garage really wasn't going to affect any actual
Yeah.
single-family
We've all seen
residence
the property.
Yeah,
We've all been there.
I have no.
No problem.
Anyone else to be heard on this matter? Oh. Since I have it, I guess I'll read it. Christopher Ennis, 94 Maidstone Lane, Wading River, residence B40, for variance to, and relief for Chapter 301-29A1B, where proposed side yard accessory setback 8-foot, minimum required is 25, and Chapter 301-31, where proposed impervious surface percentage 26%, maximum required 15%, be granted in accordance with the applications and sketches with amendments thereto as filed with the building inspector.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Gazillo.
Aye.
Mr. Whitmire.
Aye.
And I vote aye. See, appeal's been granted. Best of luck with everything.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Right.
Take care.
Take care, Mr. Ennis.
Okay, Appeal 2023-052, that was on the agenda for tonight, will actually be heard at the next meeting, which will be October 26th. There was failure to post and notice for this appeal. So the next appeal to be heard is Appeal 2023-053, Calverton Group LP, Cromer Avenue, Riverhead, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 600-119-1-35.4, Destination Retail Center zoning, proposed industrial storage use. Applicant requests variances and or relief from Chapter 301-106A, where proposed use of industrial and outdoor storage not permitted use.
Good evening, Mr. Denowski. You kindly state your name and your address.
Peter Danowski, 616 Roanoke Avenue, Riverhead, New York. I've handed up the affidavits of publishing and posting. Additionally, I produced some extra copies of Isaac Israel's curriculum vitae. Mr. Israel's here tonight to testify after I finish speaking. Just a background, my letter has sort of pointed out how we got to this point. Jimmy Latham and the Calverton Group have owned this 4-acre parcel for over 40 years. He's a local businessman that's got his lumber yard at this location. There are no structures on the site. There's outdoor storage of lumberyard material there. I will say both planning and building and staff were very helpful in arranging for a meeting that I attended after some initial discussions with the client's representatives. And at that meeting, it was pointed out that the town was moving forward with some planning studies, and it would be helpful for them, as well as my client, to produce what might be considered a future plan, a conceptual plan moving forward. My client's immediate concern is to be able to place more lumber storage material on the site. And the planning and building department were sympathetic and said your quickest and the correct way to proceed would be apply for a use permit, recognizing that indoor and outdoor storage of materials would be what you would request, and you could descriptively use the term industrial storage, indoor and out, and that's the way we frame the use permit application. I attended that meeting, as I pointed out in my letter. Dawn Thomas, planning staff, and several town board members were present. Everyone was very supportive, and I recognize that we need to move through some of the issues which deal with why can't you do destination retail? Well, if we did destination retail, we'd have to move off-site at whatever cost that would take and lose our lumber storage operation. It's been there for over 40 years. It would make no practical financial sense to do that. We're just looking to continue operating on the site. It's a very unique site in the sense, if you go down Cromer Avenue, the entire east side of Cromer Avenue is filled with industrial uses. There are no retail center uses there. The only one that's there is on Route 58 with Carl's Equipment, and that's been there for a very long period of time. It made sense to say destination retail when you're on Route 58. It made no sense to talk about destination retail when you came down Cromer Avenue. I did receive a phone call from Barclay Erler, who you may know because you've considered some variances for him in the past. And Mr. Erler was fully supportive of my client's application. He's the immediate neighbor to the north.
He's the guy on 58?
He's a very, very attractive building. He went through the town process to get his permits. He got them. He built the building, and it's been sitting there for whatever reason for a good period of time, unoccupied. And so it sort of gives you an example of retail stores, even when they're visible, even when they're at a very attractive building, even when they're in a very location, in this instance, a corner location for a neighbor, it is not occupied. And so, I mean, I have some personal knowledge of representing clients along Cromer Avenue, including those on the east side of Cromer, and none of those folks wanted to be put into a retail center zoning of any form, and they were not. They were kept in an industrial zone. If you go down there more recently, you see the propane gas tank installations that have been recently approved. So nothing there suggests that this should be destination retail. We have no public sewer available. The build-out, if it were be to retail, is at 10% coverage. It's just impractical. So we need to continue our use, and planning and building are supportive, but we need to go and get obtained a use variance for indoor, outdoor storage, industrial use, including the word lumberyard. Is it unique? It is unique because there's no other unoccupied, meaning no structure, 4-acre parcel on Cromer Avenue that would be affected. Everything else is built out. On the south side of us, beyond our other parcel, is the auto salvage yard, which has a bunch of junked vehicles on it, and that's been there for a long, long period of time as well. And then there's the railroad tracks. So is it unique? Yes. No one else has a vacant 4-acre piece. No one else has an existing use as a lumberyard. Can we get any kind of reasonable return on the property? We can't. There's nobody that would want to put a hotel across from all these industrial uses, and the build-out would be so small with no sewer available and so prohibitively costly for a small building if public sewer were available.
Well, I think I have somebody who can back that up. Mr. Otto, would Howard Johnson build a site on that place? Being an expert, working for Howard Johnson for 20-something years.
No?
No, they wouldn't. I agree with what Peter
Thank you.
said.
And lastly, does it alter the character of the neighborhood? It certainly does not alter the character of the neighborhood. It is clearly viewed as an industrial center, if nothing else, when you look on the surrounding areas, so it wouldn't cause any harm. And to suggest that Mr. Latham's company should move off the site and try to buy another piece of property somewhere, it's just prohibitive. What would he do with the property that can't be used now in destination retail? So for all those reasons, I would ask you to grant the use variance as applied for to allow outdoor and indoor storage of lumber, outdoor industrial storage, and indoor. And the concept plan is there so that when the town goes through their planning studies, and we think they're going to perhaps in the near future, but we never know when that will be, they may take the concept plan and build that into their planning studies.
Well, do you have anyone in the real estate world to back up your claims?
Can I just ask a few questions
Oh,
before we
sure,
get into
please.
that? Great. So, you stated currently outdoor storage exists on the property.
That's correct.
And do you have a CO for that?
I
or
just have the comments from the town and the building people saying they recognize that use has existed and does exist and does legally exist. That's what I have.
So you have a letter of pre-existing use?
It's a piece of vacant land. What I gave to you, because one of the historical questions that you raised, or I raised, was originally, way back in the 80s, the adjacent parcel was an office for the lumber yard, and it was an expansion to the office with an addition on it, which got CO'd, and it was all recognized as the lumber yard area,
God bless you.
the entire area. It was actually a 4-lot subdivision that was approved.
No, I'm aware of that.
Okay.
This particular piece of property.
There's no vacant land CO
There-
that I know of.
So, is it or is it not being used for outdoor storage right now?
It is.
It is?
Yes.
Without a permit or use
No,
permit?
no, I don't, you'll have to ask the building department or the planning department, but they recognize the existence of the outdoor storage on the site where it's depicted, and it's depicted on the concept plan, which you can see in the aerial photograph.
So, what is the industrial use that you're proposing?
I'm proposing
it's
indoor and
so-
outdoor.
Let me just finish.
All right, I'm
You
letting you-
haven't you've identified outdoor storage of lumber,
Right.
but you haven't identified to this board what is the industrial use. You're asking them to evaluate this and the impact to the neighborhood without identifying specifically what is the industrial use.
The reason for the terminology was the suggestion to me as a result of the meeting with planning and building. The purpose is to allow for the future storage of lumber materials, indoor and outdoor, and the descriptive term given to me to apply was the suggestion that I say indoor and outdoor industrial storage. And that's the words I used because that was the recommended verbiage to me. And if that were to be more narrowly defined, I'm okay with that, except that, that's what I'm saying. That's how I got to the
So
words.
legally, in order for the zoning board of appeals to consider an application and the impacts to the neighborhood, they would have to know what that quote industrial use is. So if you're saying to me you don't object to it would be used for indoor and outdoor storage of lumber, and that's what you're seeking a use variance for, then we'll accept it as amended that way.
And that's okay,
Well, because it's quite,
wanna
because
quibble
the
with-
impacts are could be quite different depending on the different industrial uses.
Well, I like to follow guidance that I'm given by town representatives. At the same time, I don't have objection to the amendment. And then we get into, is it lumber yard or lumber? But that's okay too. But the continued indoor or outdoor storage of lumber yard materials is fine with me.
Good, perfect. Next question.
Yes.
Do you have any empirical evidence or data of trying to market this property? You submitted some examples with the application, Brixmore, and you're well aware in that record, they actually produced a market study, and they actually produced concrete evidence of trying to market the property and being denied.
And this is how helpful planning and staff were. I was even unaware of that application until we had a discussion about, as the board considered any use variance applications in the past that dealt with usage. And I think everyone's recognizing that the Amazons of the world have taken over, and a lot of these stores are having a hard time finding tenants, and a lot of the times, some narrow definitions on the retail center zoning lets people come in and say, you know, we've got a live one here, a tenant here that could go into a building, but we're not sure they can go in, and they have to come in and get an interpretation or a variance. So it was pointed out to me, and the reason I used it, because it came up in discussions
No, I know.
in a voluntary way to me, and I understand what you said, but we're not looking to sell the property. We're not looking to put retail stores up. We have an existing lumberyard operation, and we just want to continue it the way we've been there. So it would be foolhardy for us to go and try to market our property. In fact, I think probably Mr. Israel would probably agree with this, that many times people are knocking on people's doors just looking to buy properties for a particular purpose. That hasn't happened to us because of the retail center zoning. So I have no marketing study analysis dealing with attempts by my client on this specific property to say, please, we want to sell our lumberyard for a destination retail purpose. But Mr. Israel, if allowed to testify, will make his comments about his experience in the area.
Next, with respect to sewer, you made a comment, and you and I are both well aware that oftentimes with the development, it requires a sewer extension. Where is the closest sewer?
You can see the sewer district line. I think it serves probably Tanger on Route 58,
Right.
and the distance and cost to do that would be prohibitive. One, get it in the district. Two, pull it down public roads, including the county right-of-way and Cromer Avenue. And four, I think I may talk about, it might produce 12 rooms for a hotel. It just is not financially feasible to do it. And in fact, you know, that'd be an interesting question if somebody came in and said they want to put up a building. We're so limited, and the sewer, if I remember right, only gives you an extra 5% coverage in the destination retail zone. So for 5% coverage, to do public sewer is hardly cost-effective.
So let me ask you, if you didn't have that, if you don't have that evidence with you tonight, and you could even supplement by providing that sewer details, sewer costs, could you do that?
Well, you know, I don't want to be jumping in here and jumping in, but the board has no problem with this, I'll tell you right now. So however you want to work it out with the applicant, I think we need to hear Mr. Israel, and then let's go on with this.
My last parting shot is just that we sort of, as a businessman, speed to get through any form of application process is very important to us. And so every bit of delay, and I appreciate planning and building the help they've given to this point, and I appreciate being calendared. And so I have no further comment other than to allow Mr. Israel to speak.
Please. Mr. Israel, if you kindly raise your right hand, do you swear to tell the truth? Nothing but the truth? So help you God.
Yes, I do.
Please state your name and your address.
Isaac Israel, Richmond Realty, 889 Harrison Avenue, Riverhead. Good evening, members of the board. My name is Isaac Israel. I'm an associate broker and principal of Richmond Realty, located in Riverhead. Richmond Realty has been servicing Riverhead since its inception in 1997 and has I've been involved in the development of Riverhead since my father Richard started practicing in 1987. I've worked for Richmond Realty since 2005. I'm here tonight to testify as to the hardships of the destination retail center zoning placed on 61 Cromer Avenue in Riverhead. The subject site is just over 4 acres, and it's surrounded by the following uses. To the north, a vacant, beautiful freestanding building. To the south, the lumber yard, and adjacent to that, a large auto salvage yard. To the west, rear exposure of Taggart outlets, and to the east, many industrial uses. Cromer Avenue has many industrial uses, such as propane facilities, auto salvage yard, wholesale businesses such as irrigation supply, welding shops, automotive repair shops, and warehouse businesses. The DRC zone has 4 permitted uses: retail stores or shops, hotels, car dealerships, and banks. Before I go into each allowed use, I'd like to discuss the site's development potential. The site is just over 4 acres. It is not within the sewer district. The lot coverage permitted in DRC without sewer is 10%. This would yield a maximum retail building approximately 17,000 square feet. For each of the uses, in response to the permitted uses of retail stores or shops, as you can see around us, our retail demands as consumers are changing. We have watched Amazons and other last-mile warehouses come into Riverhead and our neighboring towns, desirous to be able to meet consumer demand with doorstep delivery. This has put a strain on retailers, which we can see right before our eyes, such as the Christmas tree shops, the Bed Bath & Beyond, and the Toys R Us on Route 58. As you've probably noticed, the adjacent parcel to the north has a freestanding 14,400 square foot building that remains vacant since its construction. The adjacent building has prime frontage on Route 58 at a signalized intersection. It is a beautiful building. It is vacant, it's been vacant, and has been vacant, although it's been marketed for at least 2 years, even prior to its construction. In reviewing the site's development potential, we have a site with no frontage and no exposure on Route 58 or Route 25 that is just over 4 acres. Please keep in mind that the site is significantly lower than Route 58. That kind of poses one of the sewer challenges. It is not within the sewer district. The lot coverage permitted is 10%. Did I read this already? By today's standard, the maximum retail building would be 17,000 feet. By today's standards, this is small for a retail center and also for a single retailer. Again, as you can see by the adjacent building sitting vacant next door. With vacancy at high visibility locations and better locations, such as the Costco Center, Riverhead Center, Christmas Tree Shop Center, the former Walmart Center, Target, Staples Shopping Center, there are plenty of available spaces with high visibility and other desirable co-tenancies. I don't see the practicality of developing this property for a retail center. This doesn't include the Shops of Riverhead, also known as the Costco. I'm sorry, my papers are messed up here. Which has been divided into separate lots and has 3 lots that are approximately 4 acres each. The subject property is effectively the smallest lot in the entire DRC zone. And even so, the Costco Center lots are surrounded around Costco and have other complementary retail uses, such as home stores, pet stores, cosmetic stores, mattress stores, cell phone stores. The gross build-out of the the Shops of Riverhead is over 400,000 feet, which in the real estate world is considered a power center or regional center. Furthermore, with the exception of the vacant lot directly across the street, which is owned by Carl's Equipment, who also owns the corner of Cromer Avenue, the only other lot in the destination retail, this is the only other lot in the destination retail zone that doesn't have frontage on Route 58 or on Route 25. As far as the hotel as a permitted use, the first reason why a hotel is not practical or achievable at the location is that the site is only 4 acres and it's not serviced by public sewer and it's not within the Riverhead Sewer District. The average hotel requirement for a flagged hotel is approximately 100 rooms. The property is in Suffolk County Groundwater Management Zone 3, which allows 300 gallons per day. This would give the property a daily allowable flow of approximately 1,200 gallons per day. The Suffolk County Health Department requires 100 gallons per day for hotel rooms up to 400 square feet, which would give the property a yield of 12 rooms. A 12-room hotel is not financially feasible. Furthermore, the surrounding properties are industrial uses, an auto salvage yard, a welding shop, and a delivery entrance for a retail store. People come out to us in Riverhead for our scenic views, and a hotel wouldn't be desirable here. Car dealership use. Car dealerships require exposure in order to attract buyers, and there's not enough exposure on Cromer Avenue for a car dealership to exist. Car dealerships locate themselves in busy, high-exposure, high-traffic areas such as Route 58. Additionally, the national average of a car dealership is approximately 21,000 feet, which would be larger than permitted by zoning regulations. Online auto sales and companies like Carvana, CarMax, and AutoTrader have gained market share without the need for brick-and-mortar dealerships. Even Tesla sells cars directly to consumers without dealerships. Bank use. As you already know, the retail banking industry has been revolutionized, and bank branches are becoming smaller and a thing of the past. Banks are continuing to consolidate in order to meet regulations. Online and mobile banking, as well as people using less cash, have reduced demand for bank branches. This could be seen in our small town with the vacancies left by People's Bank at 1201 Ostrander Avenue, behind the Speedway Gas, which was closed in late 2016 and is still vacant to this day, as well as the former Chase Bank located at 655 Old Country Road, in the Gallifresh and Restaurant Depot Center that closed in September of 2019, over 4 years ago. Because of all these reasons, the town's zoning of Destination Retail Center that was placed on this property with the last master plan has put a financial hardship in using the property for the permitted uses, as I have discussed and demonstrated. I welcome any questions or clarifications the board has.
I think you've nailed it.
Sorry.
Made your point.
Thank you.
You went to Georgia Tech?
Yes.
You the rail and rec?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, we might have a problem with that. Anyway,
Anybody else?
okay. The board is in favor. I think it's between Mr. Janowski and our council to write up the decision, but we don't see a problem here.
It's gonna be for indoor and outdoor storage of lumber.
Lumber, I don't want to say, if you got lumber, it's a piece of metal that works for the fence, just the lumber will work.
Okay. Is there anyone else to be heard on this issue? All right, let's move it on to the next meeting, and we'll have a decision.
There's a lady in the background, unrelated to me, that approached me when she first got here. She got a letter as a neighbor of some application, and she's here, so I don't...
Please, step
But I
right
don't
up.
know what application it is, and she doesn't either.
What we find out? Come on up, lady.
Step up.
Yeah, but I don't know what's about.
Well, wait a minute, let's
Come on.
adjourn this to the next meeting. Let's get our business done. It has nothing to do with this meeting, right? Just, okay, let's go. Let's move this on to the next meeting.
Okay,
You have to go up to the microphone.
Should I adjourn it now?
Hi, my name is Marina, and
Wait a
I
minute, we
just
gotta
got
adjourn this thing.
notice today, and I don't know which neighbor, and I don't
What
see
it-
here.
Where do you live?
It's the next one.
Oh, it's the next one.
Okay, great.
All right.
Let's move this on for a decision for the next meeting.
All right.
Close it.
Mr. Chairman, I respectfully move, let me see, where are we? Appeal number 2023-053, Calverton Group, LP, Cromer Avenue, Riverhead, adjourned to October 26, 2023.
Second.
Mr. Gazillo.
Aye.
Mr. Whitmire.
Aye.
And I vote aye, so see you folks next time around. Okay, let's have a reading. Next one up.
Appeal 2023-055, Patricia Curley, 29 Clifton Street, Riverhead, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 600-126-4-8.3, Residence A40, RA40 zoning, proposed addition, connection to existing garage. Applicant requests variances and/or relief from Chapter 301-11, where proposed side yard setback is 2.3 feet, minimum allowed is 25 feet, and Chapter 301-11, where proposed combined side yard is 15.7 feet, minimum allowed is 55 feet.
Aye.
Hi.
Excuse me, unless you get on your tippy toes,
on.
just pull that microphone down. There you go.
Oh, Your Honors, I'm her son-in-law. I'm an attorney. So I'm just here to help because I'm gonna
We're with
get
you.
all,
We're with you.
all
Kindly
tongue-tied.
raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
And if you would kindly state your name and your address.
Okay, my name is Patricia Curley, and I live at 29 Elton Street, Riverhead, New York.
Okay.
I'm here because I want to add a little breezeway to from my existing garage to my house. And it's about 3.5 feet by 8 feet, the addition that I want to build. And I want it because I want to put my car in the garage. I don't want to have to walk outside in the snow or the rain. I want to be able to walk from my kitchen right into the garage. I'm riddled with arthritis, and it just will make it easier for me.
Okay.
And that's it.
Well, let's have your attorney step up, your relation.
Swear.
Counselor, do you have anything to add to that?
No, good evening, Your
Yes,
Honor.
swear.
I appeared, Stephen Barnes.
Counselor?
I actually appeared before Judge
Counselor,
Gazillo in the Supreme Court
Exactly.
for a number
I
of
was
years.
dressed better, so were you.
No, so was I. I apologize, this is a very last-minute appearance before the board. I'm just here to support her and answer any questions to the extent that there's any legal questions that you present to her.
We have no problems with
That
it.
lady
So,
was-
young lady, would you like to step up and say?
What I said, I got it letter yesterday.
Wait, wait,
Come up to the
wait.
Whoa,
microphone.
whoa, whoa, up to the
Right.
microphone. You have to kindly raise your right hand, and do you swear to tell the
Right.
truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Okay, it's nice to meet
Hey,
you.
no, you gotta state your name and your address.
What's your name?
I'm Marina
What's your last name?
Charcice,
How do you spell that?
And you're at?
How do you spell your last name?
643 East Avenue Extension.
How do you spell your last name?
spell your last name?
TSARTSIDCE.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Listen, you got your notice, you just got your notice in the mail.
yeah.
Do you see what they're looking to do? It's not a, anything
No,
big.
I understand now, and I just meet now, so,
Well,
yeah,
look,
yeah.
give one another a hug, and let's get on with this.
You don't, do
Yes,
you,
I don't know.
do you oppose that?
Huh?
Do you oppose, are you against what she wants?
Yeah.
My house?
No, it's a, no.
No, no, are you against it?
No.
Okay, that's good.
Okay.
Do you want to complicate it anymore?
Thank you.
Stay there.
All right, thank
I
you.
love nights like this. Good way to finish up. Okay, let's have a reading. Who's got it?
Next.
Otto?
If you don't have it, all right, all right, with respect to appeal number 2023-055, Patricia Curley, 29 Elton Street, Riverhead, SCTM number 600-126-4-8.3, Residence A-40, RA40 zoning, proposed addition specifically connection to existing garage. Applicant requests variances and/or relief from chapter 301-11, where proposed side yard setback is 2.3 feet, minimum allowed is 25 feet. And chapter 301-11, proposed combined side yard is 15.7 feet, minimum allowed is 55 feet. Be approved in accordance with the applications and sketches with amendments thereto, if any, as filed with the building inspector.
So moved and seconded.
Okay, so, Mr. Gazillo,
Aye.
Mr. Whitmire,
Aye.
and I vote aye, so build your little building and have a good time, and God bless, and we'll see you whenever.
Thank you so much.
You're quite welcome. Okay, do I hear a motion to accept the meeting, the minutes of the last meeting?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
All in favor? Aye. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you all very much. And the birthday